All right, guys, this video is going to talk to you a little bit about the speed and frequency of waves. All right, so the frequency of a wave is the number of wavelengths that pass a point in a given second. All right, so this is measured in hertz. So our unit for frequency is hertz, and it's marked by the little H and Z that you see on your screen right there. Right? So we're going to look at these diagrams next. And the first thing I want you to notice is right here that 5 blocks on this page represent 1 second. So I have already marked off 1 second underneath each wave so that we know what 1 second looks like. We're treating it kind of like a timeline. So if you've ever had a timeline in history, you know that each chunk represents a specific amount of time. Right? All right, so if we are looking at how many wavelengths pass in a given second, on this first wave, we see there's 1, and then there is a second one. All right, so since 2 wavelengths passed in 1 second, the frequency of this wave is 2 hertz. Right? And if we look at the second wave in this diagram, we see that there's only 1 wavelength that passes in that 1 second amount of time. So the frequency of this wave is 1 hertz. Right, and then we are going to talk about the speed of a wave. The speed is the distance one point on the wave moves in a given amount of time. Okay, that's not that much difference than what we talked about in our force and motion unit, where speed is the distance traveled in a specific amount of time. This one is just talking about 1 point on the wave traveling that distance. Okay, and just like in our force and motion unit, it is measured in meters per second. That is our unit for speed. All right, so 2 little last pieces of information that you will need when we talk about speed. You will need to know that speed is affected by the type of wave we're talking about and the medium that it's traveling through. So different kinds of waves will travel at different speeds just based on the kind of wave it is. And if they switch to a new medium, or if they're traveling through air and they hit water, or they run into a window, it will change the speed of that wave. So remember that a medium is a material. We're talking about what material the wave is traveling through. And this last little bit, we need to talk about electromagnetic waves again. Electromagnetic waves all travel at the same speed when they are traveling in a vacuum. So we talked about a vacuum already. A vacuum is just a space that has everything sucked out of it. So outer space is a vacuum. And we also talked about vacuum chambers when we talked about our force and motion unit. So that vacuum chamber has everything pulled out of it. There's no air, there's nothing in the way to slow any of those waves down. So electromagnetic waves all travel at the speed of light when they are traveling through a vacuum. And that's all we need when we talk about speed and frequency.